Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Nebraska's women's soccer team announced a trio of newcomers for the upcoming season. Angela Moreno, a freshman from Madrid, Spain, competed for Real Madrid last season and scored 20 goals. Jo Sees is a transfer from Kansas State, where she started 22 games and scored 5 goals and had 3 assists last season. And Elise Then spent her freshman season at SUNY Old Westbury, where she was a first-team all-conference first-team honoree after she scored 30 goals in 17 games. These 3 will join 13 other newcomers on the 2025 squad. For more information, visit Huskers.com. 2 current Huskers are set to compete at the World University Games in Berlin, Germany next month. Jenna Jorgensen will represent the U.S. after her 5th place finish in the 1,500-meter freestyle at the USA Championships in Indianapolis. And Beatrix Tonka will represent the Hungarian national team after she won the 50-meter butterfly at the Hungarian National Championships in April. For more information, visit Huskers.com. And finally, a couple of MLB scores from games that are currently in action. Currently, the Rangers and the Orioles are scoreless in the bottom of the second. The Blue Jays lead the Guardians 2-0 in the second. We're just a few minutes away from the Reds hosting the Yankees and the Mets hosting the Braves. Our sports ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Hour 1 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Pianto set first offering. That ball's driven up the middle. Coming around third is Dylan Carey. The throw is offline. The Huskers win it. The Huskers win it. Nebraska will march on.
Wing to the near side. Snap back. Has some time. Steps, throws down the field. The pass is intercepted. Picked off by Sierra Wright to the 30, 25, 20. Sierra down the near sideline. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sierra Wright with a pick 6 for Nebraska. And the Huskers have taken the lead on the road.
Rimdahl, a couple of ball fakes, bounces into Prince at half court. And Prince is going to make a run on a falter. Steps back for 3 to tie the game. You betcha! Biggest shot of that freshman's young career. Timeout! We're tied at 75. Britt Prince is 19. She steps back and sticks a 3-pointer, her 5th of the night.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome into this Tuesday night edition of Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, joined once again by Nick Hanley here tonight. Nick, thanks for coming back. We gave you the night off last night. We had a big announcement here on the air. I know you've already chatted a little bit with Kyle, but we got the new voice. That was the kind of the big news of the day yesterday for us here on the HRN.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And you and I have talked about this before, of the type of role that not only is he filling, but the person he's replacing. And we all know that. And that's why I think yesterday, with the official word coming down, it was an opportunity to really welcome Kyle to the Husker family. But also, it does come with a heavy heart, because it also, you can't introduce one without remembering one of the very best to ever put on the headset, not just in a Nebraska radio booth, but in any college football and college radio booth too, and Greg Sharp. So I know there was a lot of mixed emotions yesterday because of how much Greg meant to not only us, but also to the fan base as well. But I think it's very exciting to see where Kyle has been, and I think his wealth of knowledge in just about every sport. I didn't see curling in there. I don't know if he's done curling, but, I mean, he's done everything, and he does it at a very high level. He's very impressive, and I think he's going to fit in really well.
Yeah, and he's pretty adamant about being a team player, and that was one of the things I think we all took away with meeting with him about being part of this team, because it's a big team. I mean, and he even jokes about being a radio nerd, and he has listened to a lot of what we do here on the airwaves, and he said it last night. He said it multiple times throughout this process that we do it better than anybody, and we have a big team. And you think about the voices that we have on this network, and he's excited to be a part of that and to join it and to be a part of this team and this family. So I thought that was, a really important kind of emphasis that we took away in getting to know him. And also just what you mentioned about Greg Sharp. He said it so eloquently last night when he was talking about Greg and his posts on social media, but that's been his message from the start, from our very first conversation with him, of the understanding of the shoes that he's filling. And, the radio booth is named the Greg Sharp radio booth, and just what that is and what that means to us here on this network, but also to Husker Nation. I thought, he's certainly someone that is not shying away from understanding the magnitude of that and just what this situation is. So I that meant a lot to me personally.
Yeah, and I know I've had conversations with Ben and talking about, who was eventually going to fill that role. And I think everyone, especially on, you and Ben and Damon and everyone who has worked with Greg at such a consistent level, I think you are always going to be very picky, because I don't know if anyone that what do we hear from Troy Danino? A little bit over 300 applicants. I don't know if anyone was ever going to feel like, hey, this is the replacement. And it always sounds like such a tough thing to say, the replacement of Greg. But I think the best thing, and I really liked what Kyle had to say about it. I know he's very much aware of how this is a group that is ready to welcome in the new voice, but also is doing so knowing that it was a major loss to not only a friend of ours, but also a tremendous talent. I think there was always going to be a little bit of that, okay, is this person worthy of that? And you go back to something you said, the team player aspect too. I mean, obviously, when the finalists were narrowed down, their voice was going to sound good. They were going to have impressive credentials. But I think that is a big thing about this. And I don't know if every college football or athletic department or broadcast is always as team-oriented as what we see with Playfly and with the Huskers Radio Network. I don't know if that's everywhere you go, but we know it's familiar to a lot of our fans, and you don't want to change that much because it's a good thing. You got a good thing going, and you just don't want to see that type of all of a sudden just, okay, hey, there's going to be a new voice in, so now there's a time to really shake the foundation. Let's see if we can really change and make these drastic changes. I think it was always going to be somebody who really kind of embraces a lot of those, that teamwork, being a good team player, being a good teammate. I always think of that. And Greg was one of the best teammates. I think that all of those qualities were going to be so important when it came to the next voice of Huskers and Husker football, was going to be that person that you can relate to, the person that you feel like, what he always said when we were really exchanging stories about Greg and things that made him really stand out above so many others. And that was, in my opinion, that word that kept coming back is a soundtrack, being the soundtrack of everyone's fall afternoons on Saturdays and a lot of those baseball games as well. And even, with you and with Ben back in the day of Sports Nightly, like being the soundtrack of Husker athletics. That's such an honor. And I think it's something that Kyle understands, and he's going to continue to really be inundated with it. And I think that he's going to be that aspect alone, that team player aspect alone, I think is something that was always going to separate very talented people, very talented applicants, and people who are more than qualified because of what they've done and how they sound. But I think there was just something that about him understanding that too, which it was obviously a huge bonus.
Well, and, on that note, in the team aspect of it, you were in the press release yesterday, too. I said it last night. You're going to remain on. You and Ben going to carry on with baseball, stay on with baseball, and then you're going to continue to help us out. So when Kyle moves in here, he's not completely thrown to the wolves. He can ease into it a little bit. He's got a whole football team to learn and a whole broadcast to learn, and so we're going to give him all the time and resources that we can to be able to be as prepared as possible. But you're going to continue to stay on and help us out. And you got an announcement hopefully around the corner, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was flattered that Jason Rathie, thought highly enough of me to make me part of the team and keep me part of the team going forward. And obviously, I mean, you know how much I love doing baseball with Ben. It was something that was just, it made the year for me. I mean, it really did. And to do it under the circumstances that unfortunately, we were dealt with Greg. I think Ben always said it, and I would echo the sentiments. We just wanted to make him proud of everything that we were doing during the baseball season, and it was an interesting baseball season, to say the very least. But yeah, I couldn't be happier to be back in the broadcast booth for baseball with Ben, and obviously any opportunity I have a chance to talk with you and our great listeners here on the Huskers Radio Network during Sports Nightly in any other capacity, I'm always grateful for that opportunity.
The guys in the chat didn't waste long saying that they couldn't find his handicap score last night.
Did you get into? I didn't hear that part. Did you get into how often he spends on a golf course at all?
So I asked him. I asked him about that, and he said he golfed in high school and then had a terrible senior year and decided to just quit the sport. But he said he'll pick them back up. Or he's considering picking the sport back up when he moves here, because we're all big golf advocates. But I got to tell you, I don't play consistently enough, but I will never put my score in that program ever. Now I have learned from your mistakes. Yeah. I don't care about it. I do not care if people need to know legitimately what. I will never do that, because I do not want them to know for every time I'm out on the golf course what I did.
Oh, now I think about that. Dr. Shane's going to bust my chops anytime that I have a bad day. I'm going to hear about what you shot a 94. What the heck's happened right there? Heaven forbid I ever hit 100 again. My gosh, what those guys might do. So yeah, sometimes if you're having a bad round, maybe just go ahead and delete the round. So Shane doesn't know anything, and some of the other followers have now gotten on board with my handicap, my Grint score right now.
Where are we at in that, by the way?
It's hovering right around 14.
What did we want to get it to 11?
Yeah, that was. I just don't think it's going to happen. If I could have a round where I break 80, then I could have a shot. But I've been close. I was really close in North Carolina. I need one of those really impressive rounds, and then stay right around that 80, 82 mark, and then I could maybe see it drop there. But I've been living in the mid and upper 80s. I had a couple 90s this year too. So you know what? If I get to 13, let's call it that. If I could get to 13 now, because now I think we got to adjust the goal right now based on how the season's going. So at 13, I'd be very happy.
It's got to be motivating, though, that you're sitting here thinking, like, gosh, I can't take today because everybody's waiting to see report what my score is on the Sports Nightly YouTube chat.
Yeah, there's been a few times, when I've been playing good, and I'm thinking, okay, I can't have a blow up because I know I'll pay for that. Or if I'm off to a bad start, I'm like, I got to turn this around, otherwise I'm not going to hear the end of this one. So, and then the other thing is, people know when you're out golfing, like, what are you doing golfing on a Tuesday afternoon? Aren't you supposed to be productive? I'm like, well, if you got the opportunity, just go and do it, right?
I'm just saying, I learned from your mistakes, so I will not be submitting my scores to that program. Hey, I felt bad yesterday. I brought it up when I could, but it was Kyle's day, but it was also kind of my day with the Thunder winning. I got a lot of people congratulating me. It was really nice. It felt like I actually had done something, the way that people were saying congratulations. So I felt bad. So I had to represent today with my Oklahoma City Thunder shirt today. And I got to tell you, I texted you this. I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO today, missing out on that parade, that championship parade in Oklahoma City.
I don't know why you couldn't have just posted up somewhere, and we could have, we've got the technology where you could have done the show live at some type of Oklahoma City sports bar, and we could have remoted this thing. I just don't know if I would have been able to hear you a whole heck of a lot. It looks like everybody in Oklahoma City and in the surrounding area showed up for that parade. That was impressive. And I love those when you do have, especially the Midwest cities, but the ones that have been waiting and waiting and waiting because they've been so close and they finally knock it down, that everyone is chomping at the bit to get out there. And so good on you to hold up your professional obligations, but I wouldn't have blamed you if you said, hey, you know what, can you run this, or can I join you via via Comlink because I'm going to be out there in the middle of all this.
Well, listen, I already did it once for the Western Conference Finals, so I felt like I couldn't do it
the
twice.
NBA Finals, though. I mean, we're talking about you're a world champion here.
I am. The social media has been off the hook today. My brother is down there and started texting me at like 7 a.m. and people were lining up. It's not just the whole Oklahoma City; it's the entire state that lined up. But it is, as we like to say, lit down there in downtown OKC with the celebration. But I'll just enjoy it from afar. But I was a pretty happy camper on Sunday night and into yesterday, so I felt bad making it. I did slide it in there a few times when I could, talking about the Thunder yesterday, but I tried to make it as much about Kyle as I could.
How's your brother doing? Hanging in there?
Well, I haven't spoken to him in about a couple hours, so I hope he's still okay.
Send him a text.
I think that the real question will be how will he be doing tomorrow? So.
I think there's going to be close to 900,000 to 1 million that you might have to. They might all be having a very slow Wednesday.
I did. Yeah, I think maybe they just cancel. I think maybe a lot of places did just cancel today, or I saw that. But my brother was waiting in line. I said this last night, but he was in Oklahoma City. He didn't go to the game, but as soon as the game was over and they started putting out the merch for the champions gear, and so I got actually a night of the championship, the title win T-shirt that's coming my way that I will be wearing on this show too. But that doesn't happen every day either.
It doesn't. It's awesome. The most recent championship that, as far as my fandom that I can remember, was 2015 Chicago Blackhawks, where my wife and I actually almost went down to Chicago. They had to change the parade, the final stopping point to Soldier Field because they had really bad rain the night before, and they were going to have it, I think, it was in one of the parks out there. I can't remember if it was Lincoln Park or what, but Grant Park, I think, is where they're going to have it. But they had to change it out to Soldier Field, and that was completely packed. But it's just for at least a solid week, especially when you have these championships in the summer, like I did in hockey and like you are now with the NBA Finals. You get a lot because there's not that much to all of a sudden distract you. Now, obviously, yesterday with the announcement of Kyle joining the team, that was a little distraction right there for you. But this week is just going to feel amazing. Like you could get some bad news about other teams you root for, and you're not going to care because you're basking into that championship glory. It just makes every day that much better. Eventually it wears off, but for at least a solid week, you're still just in a total state of euphoria. So I'm happy for you. It's really, really cool.
Thank you. I'm feeling pretty excited. And, hey, with what Sam Presti has done, and it's really impressive. I said this last night with Damon. I know that people are saying, well, you're not going to be able to keep the big three, but I think they've got the potential to be able to, if someone leaves, to substitute somebody into that big three with the number of assets that they've been able to attain over the years. And they're actually going to have multiple draft picks coming up tomorrow night. So the NBA draft is tomorrow night. So we'll be on Bryce Williams' watch list. I haven't seen an updated list. I know he's right there on the fringe, and there's a lot of teams that like him, and I know that he's had some really good workouts, and so it's not, even if you don't get drafted, it's still not impossible that he can make a team or get invited to a training camp situation and maybe work his way through the G League, whatever it might be. But I know that there are a lot of teams that were really impressed with him and what they saw from him last season, but even into the whole pre-draft process. I know that he is really impressed throughout this process.
Yeah, I think you go back to this last year for him in his final season with Nebraska, and then you be able to couple that with what he's been able to do with the workouts too. And we've discussed so many times what makes him not only a well-rounded option as a professional basketball player, but that stock has gone up, and it has gone up since the end of the season. But the season he put in obviously was a great platform for him to leap off of there too. So I don't know what's going to happen because you're right, he's that fringe, so I wouldn't be shocked if we did hear his name there at the back end of the second round. But also, as you and I discussed not that long ago, I would be more surprised if we don't see him in a workout, playing some summer league, as a UDFA, and a guy that I think is going to be very high on people's radar that feel like they can sign him, and he's going to be a valuable acquisition. And maybe for those organizations, they're able to get him a little bit more on the cheaper end, but I think he's going to have an opportunity to make himself some money there in the league.
So there's actually going to be availability tomorrow for Fred Hoiberg. I think Jamarcus Lawrence is going to be speaking, and Connor Essegian. We might be able to get some of that, but we also have a busy day of interviews lined up. But we will be able to hear maybe some of the latest nuggets with Husker Hoops tomorrow, and then maybe some good news for Bryce coming up later in the evening. So I mentioned I was highly entertained all day by what was going on down in Oklahoma City. I was also highly entertained by the social media reactions to Coach Rule's character in the EA Sports video game. They did not do him any justice, I guess.
No,
did they
not
even
at
look
all.
at what the coaches look like before they created the characters?
First of all, other than maybe wearing a suit, when have you ever seen him with a tucked-in polo? I've never seen the tucked-in polo.
No, it's the cut-off sweatshirts.
Yeah. He's got the the prize fighter who is going through the workouts before the big fight. He's got that kind of the loose the hoodie. I know at one point people were when he was at Baylor it was a smock, and yeah, there's nothing that is tucked in polo shirt for Matt Rule. I don't even know if he's ever done that. And if he had, he was probably very, very young and an up-and-comer in the coaching profession. But, yeah, just at the very least, man, get the guy's style down. I mean, the things they can do in video game graphics now, I would feel like they could do this, each coach's style. The guys who wear visors, they'll wear visors. The guys who don't, and they wear the cutoffs or they wear the hoodies. Or they were able to do that with Bill Belichick and Madden when he was still coaching with the Patriots. You tell me you can't do something similar to Matt Rule? I mean, come on. What are we doing here?
Are you a video game guy?
I haven't been really since I've been
Last
married.
year? Since when?
No. I did say, well, the college football game came out. I did have to sample it. Unfortunately, it wasn't on my gaming console. It was on a friend's. So I have not. I don't have a gaming console anymore. I had to grow up a little bit, I suppose. That's what I'm telling myself.
The only video games, quote unquote, my parents didn't allow us to have any kind of gaming systems, but Nintendo 64, Mario Kart. Okay. I am pretty much undefeated. Nobody can beat me on the Mushroom Cup, so that's about all I can say. I've never tried to play any of the sports games, so I don't know. If there's an expert that wants to chime in on this, but I couldn't believe what, like you said, with how advanced we are with the graphics system and packages and all that, and just putting this, how real it can look. That does not look like Coach Rule at all.
Well, and he's not, okay. Now, this might come across, if Coach Rule is listening right now, I am sorry for saying this, and this is not a negative. It's going to come across as a negative. But Matt Rule, they made him a lot taller, too. He's tall, he's got the khakis on, and he's got the polo tucked in. And they make him a little more robust than what he is. So it's like, other than kind of the face, sort of the face, everything else was like the exact opposite of what you see from Matt Rule. So I don't know what they were going off of. I really don't. But you got to do better than that.
The social team ended up doing, it's kind of one of the memes that go around, you versus the guy she told you not to worry about. And so they did like a side-by-side with him, and then him posing with the bull over the weekend with the boom box and all of that. And I'm telling you, I won't give too much away, but Coach Rule would not allow that to go out, and he knew that was coming out. I'll just say that. And so, that's how you handle something like that, right? You have fun with it and embrace it a little bit. And now, once again, Nebraska football is winning social media once again today.
Yep. Yes, they are. And again, there are certain occasions where even bad press is good press. This was obviously not the most flattering depiction of Matt Rule on a video game, but he'll have fun with it. He will be able to shape this the right way, as opposed to maybe some other coaches or people who might be a little vain and might have some serious issues and might try to take matters in a different avenue. I don't know.
Oh, on that note, we got to get to a break here on Sports Nightly. Coming up next, we're going to continue our newcomer series and go back to Husker volleyball. And the freshman middle blocker just got to campus here. She was not an early enrollee, so getting settled in is the, again, freshman middle blocker out of Santa Rosa Valley, California, Maniah Obeiche. So we're going to hear from her coming up on the other side of this. And then Nick's going to join us again in hour number 2, and we'll figure out what we're going to dive into then. But I'm sure it will be award-winning stuff, as it always is. Yeah, hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee, where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska.
Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Falls City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back to Sports Nightly. I'm Jessica Coody, and it's time to continue our newcomer series presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. We got another new Husker volleyball player to introduce you to here tonight, and the freshman middle blocker, Maniah Obeiche. She was just got here recently over the last couple of weeks, settled into her new dorm and worked the camps, and so she was not part of the spring, so really getting a feel for it here over the last couple of weeks, but just an incredible person to chat to, so kind, so nice, so excited to bring that to you here tonight. So here is a portion of my conversation with the freshman middle blocker, Maniah Obeiche. So you just moved in, got settled in. How has the past couple of weeks been for you?
The past couple of weeks have definitely been an adjustment. Very hectic. It was nice for my parents to come in, help me move in. And me and my roommate, Kenna, we're just having a great time. Getting to know everyone, getting to know campus, and yeah, we're having fun.
How excited were you to get to settle in, move into your dorm, and just get settled in here in Lincoln?
We were so excited. And of course, immediately as soon as we come, it's camp season, so we're working camps, we're getting to meet girls, immediately getting to see some of the impacts we have here as a Husker. So it's really exciting for me. It's beautiful, honestly.
Okay, so what was is there a theme to the dorm? How you guys decorated it? What went into that?
So we have an accent wall that's blue. So we went with almost an ocean-y sort of thing. So there's grays, blues, browns, and LED lights, fairy lights. We even have one around like the back of the TV. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh, that's cool. You'll have to do like a MTV Cribs style tour of your dorm.
I would love to do that too, to show it off. It's so beautiful.
Well, how was, again, because you got here just recently and just getting here, going to camps, what was that like working camps and diving right into it?
So I feel like you would expect a camp to be a lot because it's hours and hours and hours of standing around, tossing balls for the little girls. But for me, it was fun. It was really fun. I got to meet so many girls, got to know their stories, a little bit about them. We laughed, we competed, and I got to know some of my teammates too.
Was it surreal at all, being that, since you didn't go through the spring, that was probably your first really feeling of, oh, I'm actually a Husker now, and it's like that changeover from being that person that looked up to athletes to now you are that. Was it surreal at any point?
It was definitely surreal. Just working the demo, looking up and seeing all of the campers' faces just in awe, ready to get our autographs even as we go out. Having that pressure to be a role model is such a welcome responsibility, honestly. Very surreal.
That's very cool. Okay, well, let's go back to, your recruiting journey and just when you decide that you want to play college volleyball. Why Nebraska? What sold you on the Huskers?
Okay. My recruiting journey. So I feel like I always knew I was going to play college volleyball, but it was in the back of my head. It wasn't necessarily a driving force all the time, but especially as I got older and I started making USA teams, for example, it made it pretty clear that that's the route I'm most likely going to go. So my entire recruiting process was pretty disciplined and very thought out. We made lots of lists, me and my parents, and we figured it all out. So I was committed. And then everything changed for me, and I realized that volleyball is something that's way more important than I realized before. And sports in general are something that I want to make a part of my life in a different way too. So I decided how I wanted the rest of my career to go. And my major, I'm in a double major in marketing and management. And once I figured that out, and once I figured out I just want to play volleyball at the highest level that I can for as long as I can, it was very obvious to me that Nebraska is the place that I wanted to go. So I'm here now, double majoring, ready to be a part of a very, very rich culture that I'm learning more and more about every single day. And it's wonderful.
Wow, that's incredible. So was there, when you say it kind of switched for you, was there something that happened, or was there that went into that moment that you changed that process?
Really figuring out how I wanted my career post volleyball to look like. I want to stay in the sports industry, sports management, really. So sticking with volleyball in the Big Ten, I think that shows a pretty high level of sports management. So I'm here to learn in all different types of ways, not only in volleyball, but professionally as well.
I know you have some relatives, your dad, aunt, right, both played collegiate sports at the highest level. How much did that help you just in this process and knowing what to expect and how to get yourself to where you want to be in a position to play college volleyball?
That was the most helpful thing ever. Having my dad, he played football at Stanford, having him understand bits and pieces of the process really helped me calm down a little bit, to put everything into perspective and realize that there's multiple paths you can take. Even recommitting, that's okay. That's completely okay. And having my dad and my aunt who've already gone through it, letting me know that there's not a set path for everyone. You can take your own, you can find your own. It was the most helpful thing. Keep stress out of it.
Oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. I know if you do a little bit of research on you, you can quickly find that family is very, very important to you. Tell us about your family, your siblings. You got multiple siblings, right? And
yes.
Just how important they are to you.
I have 4 younger siblings, 2 little brothers, 2 little sisters. They are the most important thing to me ever. And honestly, that's why I'm here as well. Another really big reason. As an example for my siblings, so my second sister, she's actually committed to go play volleyball at Harvard. And from then on, I have another sister who plays volleyball and then 2 little brothers who play basketball and football. Seeing them, I've been FaceTiming them a lot, of course, in the first couple of weeks, just missing, I've been missing them so much. Getting to share my story, getting to share my experiences, I feel like it allows them to grow and understand and never feel like they need to worry about anything because I can help them. I'm right here for them. They're the most important thing in the world to me, and being here gives me an opportunity to teach them more.
Was it hard to say goodbye to them when you packed up?
It was the hardest thing I think I've ever done.
Needless to say, you guys are a sports family.
For sure. We're definitely a sports family.
You're always at a sporting event,
yes.
probably. Did you get to play with your sisters?
Yes. So I played with my second sister for the past 2 or 3 club seasons now. And it's nice because I'm a middle, she's an opposite, so we're at the net together. And also in high school, our freshman younger sister was there as well. So it's the 3 of us, outside, opposite, middle. And, well, when I was playing middle, I was also an opposite in high school and outside. But we were all there together.
So I guess, have they made plans to come out and visit you out here?
Plenty of plans. And even I'm going back down to California in 2 weeks. We're going to see each other a lot, for sure.
Cool. You just mentioned like going back and forth between middle and outside. Why is middle where you feel most comfortable?
I think it's the adrenaline, the rush of being in the middle of all the action, just literally in the middle of the court, being able to touch more balls blocking-wise. Maybe that's why. One of my favorite parts of the game is blocking and decision-making, the strategy behind the game. And once I feel like I've clicked on to the opposing setters' mentality, mindset, and you can see and you can start to notice patterns, the strategy part of it just clicks for me, and that's my favorite part. And it allows me to just read people, and it's the most exciting part of the game for me.
Safe to say that paid off for you, because you left as the career blocks leader at your high school. So
Yes.
You obviously had put in a lot of work there. Was that something that you just developed for you, or how did you become where you can read things on the court so well?
I'd have to think back. I'm a very visual learner. My freshman year of high school, I had an All-American teammate as a middle. So watching her, understanding the things that she did, even watching her eyes on the setter, that's been the best thing for me. I'm just a very visual learner. So it's another reason why being here is amazing. I have amazing middles older than me here. I can just learn so much.
How has it been? I know you have been in contact, this freshman class, very close, but how has it been now that you're here on campus interacting with some of those older players?
It's been so nice seeing the people that you watch on TV and getting to know them as real people and making friends, genuine friends. These are friendships that I think will last a very long time. It's been the world, and our team chemistry is amazing too. We really do see each other as friends as well as teammates. Outside of volleyball, like for example, the past week I've been going over to a teammate's house and we've been watching Love Island. And it's been the most fun thing ever. So having a support system like that, it really means a lot to me. And the older girls have been amazing at helping the freshmen get integrated as well.
I don't watch Love Island, but it seems like there's a lot of drama going on.
There certainly is.
Well, just as you get here now and you are kind of settling in, I know you can be out on the court some, and but before you kind of, I guess, dive into the preseason, what are some of the things that you're trying to focus on here over these next couple of months?
I'm trying to get used to the tempo and the pace of the sets. I don't think I've ever been so excited to work with some setters in my entire life, because they're tall, they can feed me high, but also very fast, extremely fast. So getting used to that tempo, and eventually we'll get to a point where it's just butter, easy.
Rebecca Alex said they just drop dimes all the time.
They really do. They really do. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Again, that was Maniah Obeiche, the freshman middle blocker, and I will be posting that full conversation on our podcast platforms and our YouTube channel as well tomorrow morning, so you can listen to that full conversation. But wasn't she just such a joy? And she's one of those people, when she walks in a room and there's just this light and that you gravitate towards. But I know I had said this. We had a commenter on the YouTube channel. I did an event last week that Danny Busboom Kelly spoke at, and she was very complimentary of Manaia and how she's already settling in. So that competition and that depth just continues to grow and grow for Husker volleyball, and it's going to continue to be a competitive practice gym this season. Again, that's part of our newcomer series presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska. Whether you just arrived in Nebraska or you've called it home for years, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is here for you. We've been a part of the community for 85 years, helping Corn Huskers, new and native, stay healthy and thrive on and off the field. We're back with more of Sports Nightly coming up after this.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or give us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you get coverage options based on how much you want to pay for car insurance. And then you decide how to spend the rest of your money because you're in charge. And right now, you're going to pay for groceries. But you decide what groceries. Just keep in mind you're running out of dishwashing soap. But you decide if you're going to buy that soap. Just those dishes won't clean themselves, will they? Remember, with Progressive's Name Your Price tool, we'll help you find coverage at a fair price. And then you're in charge. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Fall City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Discover power, performance, and reliability at Woodhouse Chevy. Whether you're after a rugged truck, a stylish SUV, or a fuel-efficient sedan, the Chevy lineup features a vehicle fit for any lifestyle. Take advantage of special financing and exclusive offers happening now. View our inventory online or visit our 2 convenient locations in Omaha and Missouri Valley. Woodhouse Chevy. Together, let's drive.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. John in Omaha just texted in on our Woodhouse Sports Nightly hotline. Love the interview with Manaia. What an impressive young woman. So glad that not only have her talents, but what she can offer as a person to the program. Again, appreciate that text, John and Omaha on our text line. I agree 1,000%. She especially, you can just hear it talking to her, and she's excited to be here too. All right, surprise, surprise, I went long on the first 2 segments, so got to go ahead and get to our last break, but we're back to wrap up hour number 1 next.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're going to feel a puff of air.
Jong's Optometry has set their sights on staffing up.
Try the next line. Hey, Kim, can you tell our 2 o'clock we're running 15 behind? Sorry, we're a bit backed up today.
He needs an optometric technician to keep an eye on it all.
Where are the dilation drops?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraska Lottery.
Hey, I heard Trucks and Bucks is back.
Yes, sir. And this year you could win one of 8 new gray trucks. People from around the state just love this game.
They do?
You bet. Just this morning, I got calls from excited players in Burwell, Sutton, Fall City, and Ralston.
Well, you can add Wilbur to the list.
You're from Wilbur?
No, that's my name.
Oh.
Hey, if you get a call from Alma, that's my aunt.
That's her name?
No, that's where she lives.
Trucks and Bucks top prize odds are 1 in 336,000.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule. With your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or get us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sapbros.net/Huskers.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. Final segment here of Sports Nightly on this Tuesday evening. Final couple minutes left. Here is What's on Tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. We mentioned this earlier, but the NBA draft coming up tomorrow night starting at 7 o'clock. And we will, over the next couple of days, be on Bryce Williams' draft watch, or just to see maybe where he might land if he does go undrafted. Also, it's a little bit of a ways away, but we are going to hear more about it coming up here in hour number 2 is the Nebraska football road race, and it is coming up on July 20th. And so we're going to hear from Bree Hoffman from the Team Jack Foundation and chat with her about what it means and the research and all of that. So that's What's on Tap, brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. I guess I'll go ahead and say that now, or say this now too. Camden mentioned this on What's on Tap. Tomorrow night we're going to hear from the Director of Strength and Conditioning for Nebraska football, Corey Campbell. So we heard Damon talking last night about this time in July and the development part of it, and he's went as far as to say it might be the most important time of the year for this football team, just this time where the coaches aren't around as much, and it is about getting yourself ready for preseason. So we're gonna check in with Corey Campbell, who's a big part of this time, certainly tomorrow night. And so we continue the newcomer series. Got several lined up tomorrow with a few more of the Nebraska volleyball newcomers. So we'll continue to bring those to you here over this week, but then also, again, mentioned this a few times, that we'll be off the air next week as we move to our new studio. We'll have a best of shows throughout the week, but when we come back on the air in July, we'll continue to introduce you to these newcomers as a part of this series. I always love chatting with the new faces and getting to know them a little bit as they before they embark fully into their Husker careers here on campus. All right, that's going to wrap up hour number 1. Hour number 2 just ahead. Nick Hanley going to rejoin us here at the top of the hour. Keep it here on Sports Nightly.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Hey Huskers, it's a new day in Nebraska. Manzer Equipment, Mertz Farm Equipment, and West Point Implement of Columbus have teamed up as True Ag and Turf. Coach Rule is bringing innovation and high-performance standards to Husker football, and True Ag is doing the same to your farm with game-changing Fendt equipment. As Big Red establishes power on the field, True Ag and Turf does the same in the field by welcoming Fendt to Nebraska.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing. You pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
In the heartland, where ambition thrives, there are those who are made and those who are made for more. Just like the Huskers on game day, Kloss, a leading producer of ag equipment, unleashes the power of ambition in the field. Discover why our cutting-edge machinery and unwavering support aren't just a promise, they're a commitment to your success. Because at Kloss, we know you are made for more. Visit your Kloss dealer or CLAAS.com.
Good evening, I'm Camden Cohn, and our Sports Ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Earlier today, Nebraska's women's soccer team announced a trio of newcomers for the upcoming season. Angela Moreno, a freshman from Madrid, Spain, competed for Real Madrid last season and scored 20 goals. Jo Sees is a transfer from Kansas State, where she started 22 games and scored 5 goals and had 3 assists last season. And Elise Then spent her freshman season at SUNY Old Westbury, where she was a first-team all-conference honoree after she scored 30 goals in 17 games. These 3 will join 13 other newcomers on the 2025 squad. For more information, visit Huskers.com. 2 current Husker swimmers are set to compete at the World University Games in Berlin, Germany next month. Jenna Jorgensen will represent the U.S. after her 5th place finish in the 1,500-meter freestyle at the USA Championships in Indianapolis. Beatrix Tonka will represent the Hungarian national team after she won the 50-meter butterfly at the Hungarian National Championships in April. Again, for more information, visit Huskers.com. And finally, a couple of MLB scores from games that are currently in action. At the end of 5 innings, the Rangers lead the Orioles 3-0. In the bottom of the 5th, the Blue Jays lead the Guardians 4-0. In the top of the 4th, the Mets and Braves are scoreless. Also in the top of the 4th, the Yankees lead the Reds 1-0. And headed to the bottom of the 2nd, the Cubs and Cardinals are scoreless. Our Sports Ticker is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Call a timeout. If you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is there. Call, text, or chat 988. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors who are ready to listen and provide support. Hour 2 of Sports Nightly is up next, right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
The Season behind the screen, dances around, has he moved, pump fake, out it comes to Jacobson, puts it up and in! Holy smokes! Way to go, Cale! Cale Jacobson from Ashland, Nebraska, into the starting lineup 3 games ago, hits a huge, humongous, gigundous 3.
Runs and deals. Ball swings and lets the fly ball to left. Sullivan going back to the wall, and it's good! Home run, Jordy Bull! A towering drive to left field by Jordy Bull, and that ties the school record for home runs in a season by a Husker. Allie Viola, you've got company. It's the best player in college softball with her 3rd home run of the weekend, Jordy Bull.
Bump set left. Almodovar's in the front row. She tips it. Doug. Huskers own it. Set left. Harper again. Over dig and out. Point Harper Murray in the big red. She's carrying him. That's 18 kills for Harper. It's 25-24 Nebraska.
Now, here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Nick Hanley, on the Huskers Radio Network.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Sports Nightly. Nick Hanley back with us here off the top of this hour. Nick, we didn't actually get to this here in hour number 1, but a big recruiting day for Husker football yesterday. Got a couple of big commitments, a running back, defensive back, a cornerback at that, one of the top-ranked corners in the country for this 2026 class. And we had Damon on last night. He was maybe projecting a little bit what this recruiting class would look like. And we've had lots of these discussions here over the last few months as we've speculated what the roster size would look like. And, you know, he just brought up about when you look at this roster and how 75-80% of it are those underclassmen, so freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores. And so the recruiting classes are going to fluctuate from year to year. So this might be a smaller class, but you want to get the good ones. You want to hit on the ones you get. And they are making some noise with this class, even though it might be a little small, but getting quite a bit of talent in this 2026 class.
Yeah, the quality over quantity type feel right now. And I think we know that that's going to be a heavy emphasis on really all of college football and the big hitters, is making sure that it's not just about the number that they're signing now, it's more the quality, because you're going to be limited on what you can do in the future. I think Damon's perspective is going to be very interesting because not only does he have a son who is a high-level defensive back, but Damon played the running back position at such a high level that you have a running back and a defensive back that commit in the last 24 hours. I want to start with Danny Odom. That was a huge win for Nebraska, given who Nebraska was up against. And that right there, that example, and I understand, sometimes the choices that a recruit has doesn't necessarily illustrate the type of player he's going to be. There's, without question, some ability, some talent that has been identified for a number of schools that are trying to contend for a national championship. When you look at the list of the Clemsons, the Penn States, the Oklahomas, and the Ohio States, that they've identified, and they have a certain recruiting profile, especially at the defensive back position, that Nebraska was able to beat them out. I think that speaks highly of not only John Butler, but the entire staff, and also Matt Rule. So that one, to me, given his size, you think about, and you've seen this more so than I have, being down on the field during those games, but there are times, especially in the last couple of years, that you've looked at when Nebraska's played in Michigan or Nebraska's played in Ohio State. And there are certain positions where you can see where there is a gap still with Nebraska, just in the overall physical presence of some of those teams. And I think when you look at not only just playing defensive back in the Big Ten, but in big boy college football right now, that size, that wingspan, that ability to knock a pass down, to be able to, even if you get beat for just a moment, that you have that ability to recover because you do have that range. And that's the one thing that Odom has. I mean, that is a tall, rangy guy that is going to be able, I would like to think, to be able to cover and do so well. So I think there's that part of Odom that it looks good. And I think I can understand why the other schools were hot on his trail. Great win for Nebraska there. Because remember, June was kind of a slower start where there was a lot of good leads on guys, but then Nebraska wasn't necessarily able to close because other schools were either presenting a better offer or whatever the case may be. You never know how these things are going to work out. But we know it's not always how you start those cycles, it's how you finish. Nebraska this week especially. Then you look at Jamal Rule, who, again, that ability to not only have that breakaway speed and get away from defenders that are trying to chop him down at an angle, but also that vision that he has out of cuts. There's a lot of those things to like about Jamal Rule, too. So, and we know that position for this recruiting class was highly coveted. Nebraska needed a playmaker in that 26 class, and they feel like they have it in Jamal Rule. And I think based on just the tape, and I understand they're just highlights, you're not going to see the lowlights, but just based on the highlights, he looks like he could make an impact pretty early.
Also got a big-time tight end over the weekend after we signed off the air, obviously, on Thursday night, but committed over the weekend. Luke Sorensen out of California as well, but a four-star tight end. Man, you could say whatever you want about maybe some of the other positions, but year in and year out, they seem to get some tight end talent around here.
Isn't that interesting, too, where you go back to, I think, one of the big tight end wins that Nebraska got a while back, and that was Thomas Fidone, given who they were up against. I remember seeing the image of Jim Harbaugh sitting there in his khakis watching Fidone in a basketball game, in a high school basketball game. You're thinking, oh, wow, they're getting all the attention. Iowa's after him, too, and Nebraska's able to win that one out. Now you go from that win to a lot of other wins when it comes to that tight end position. And I still think we're waiting to see that position really take off with its consistency. And we've talked about Heinrich Haarberg making the switch over to tight end, what that could look like, and maybe adding another element of that athleticism and how Dana Holgorsen wants to use the tight end in this Nebraska offense. So I think it's coupled with the fact that you're playing in the Dana Holgorsen offense, but also the fact that Nebraska has really made that, I think, that position a pretty high emphasis. And, they've been able to get a couple of guys here as of late in the NFL at that position, and guys that are still on rosters. So it's not the program that you think about as much as, say, the Michigans of the world or even the Iowas of the world on how they've not only recruited that position, developed them, and then turned them out into the NFL to be high productive players. Nebraska, I think, a little bit more under the radar, has been able to get those guys and still get some of these bodies into the NFL.
So I think, there's a lot of speculation on how you should build a team, right? And I think we've seen that with Coach Rule, you're going to supplement with the portal. You're not going to build it out of the portal. So this young talent is going to be crucial in maintaining that success and sustaining success, getting there and then, keeping it rolling. And, I know that they're really excited about a lot of this young talent that they brought in, but continuing to develop, and then, hey, you see what you need. And so I think some people look at some of the programs that have had instant success by just going into the portal, but it's, you're talking about now managing your salary cap, quote unquote, I guess, if you will, but then, you want to have guys that are part of this program because that culture part of it is so important. And so while maybe the classes from year to year look different and have different needs and targets and even just the size, it's still going to be really important. And then you supplement with getting some gets out of the transfer portal. But it's never going to just be only about the transfer portal with this program.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm excited about to see, going back to something we started off with about not necessarily the quantity, because there's only so much space on the roster right now that you've got to value the quality. And there was always a guy or two that I think, going all the way back to Matt Rule in Temple and Matt Rule at Baylor, they wanted to find those diamonds in the rough, and they felt like if they could get them into the college football system, into the weight training and nutrition program, that by maybe their redshirt sophomore or junior year, that those guys would be able to contribute on the field. Well, as we know, you don't have, first of all, the roster size to be able to maybe take that gamble as much as you could before. You've got to find players, as Matt Rule says, and I know every college football coach is trying to find NFL talent at the high school level, guys that project to be NFL talent even at 18 years old. But Matt Rule has been, I think, more vocal about it than any coach I can remember being here at Nebraska, that they are still identifying NFL-type talent out of the high school ranks. And you find what checks a bunch of boxes, but then it's that lifestyle change of getting to college football. And so when we talk about development, I think there's a lot of that development that happens from a physical standpoint, but also that mental development. And I think that's something that gets lost in the conversation a little bit, is being able to have that physical and mental development really be on the same plane. And so you've got a young man who's obviously very talented, is able to retain that information and be able to apply it and do it at a little bit more rapid pace, because that's what the game demands right now. If you're a freshman and you miss a couple of months of being able to continue to move forward with that opportunity and that attention to detail that it's going to take to develop yourself, not only physically but mentally, you're probably going to get passed up. So there's such a sense of urgency, but this is where I look at Matt Rule's track record of being able to develop young players. And I think we always focus on the physical part of it, but I think there's that mental part of it that doesn't get enough conversation, that Matt Rule also has a track record of doing in his 2 previous stops.
Can we also go back to when you were talking about, Danny Odom, and just here's another Florida talent, and boy, have they hit on those Florida talented guys, and Phil Simpson I know is a big part of that, but it's a hotbed, right? And so I know that this is going to be a staff that targets the home state kids when they can. They want to win the kids in this state and the best kids in this state that can help with this program, but they're now building kind of this brand that they can go get the top players across the country, but they are hauling in some talent from the state of Florida.
They are, and the other part about that is, when we talk about the transition from high school into college, look, kids are still kids, and this is the one thing that, as the athlete, the modern day athlete, the modern day 18, 19-year-old athlete has changed in maybe their training methods, into their overall physical appearance compared to where it was even 10 or 15 years ago. The one thing that I still feel very confident has not changed is taking someone away from their home and the comforts of home and being able to create a second home for them. And that's a very important part of this. And I think what I noticed even last year, you use Vincent Shavers as an example. There's a guy that you knew was going to be very important, not only in his first-year development, but a guy that going forward could be huge for this program and really being one of the faces of this defense when all is said and done. But you had to keep him engaged early on. You got to keep those guys engaged early on that come from California, that come from Florida. And I think this staff has done a really good job. And, especially with the defensive backs, too. And this was one of the things that I think we were going to continue to see when it came to the the coaching transition of John Butler now overseeing this entire defense. Still will work with the secondary, but you mentioned Phil Simpson, but also Addison Williams. What is his role and what is his overall recruiting background going to be when it comes to being able to maintain that type of level that we're starting to see continue to make its way into the secondary? He's going to have a big role in that, not only from the development standpoint, but also from the recruiting standpoint that I think is going to be interesting to follow. I just think a lot of those guys that come from outside of the 500-mile radius, being able to keep them engaged early on so they consider Nebraska that second home where they're not getting as homesick as sometimes you see. I think it's great. And that doesn't mean, hey, you got to start dangling a starting position in front of them or even playing time right out of the gate. But keeping them involved and I think just keeping them close to you, I think is a big part of this. And it just seems like a lot of those freshmen between Ja'Cory Barney and Vincent Shavers, a lot of those guys had talent to be on the field right away. That's not always going to be the case for some of the other players that you get from the different corners of the country. But being able to have a culture and a program that is going to be all-encompassing when it comes to that part of it, so you don't run the risk of losing those guys simply because they just want to be closer to home.
All right, let's go ahead and get to a break. You're good for one more segment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Wanted to get your thoughts on just the College World Series as it came to an end, and final thoughts, put a bow on that. So we'll go ahead and get to a break, and we'll have that conversation on the other side of this.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
Because my mom wore her seatbelt that day, I get to hug her when I go home.
And then it clicked. Because I wore my seatbelt, I learned that one moment in time can change a person's life forever.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The day we were hit was the second to last day of our high school careers.
We were about to graduate as best friends together.
And then it clicked. Because we wore our seatbelt that day, we still get to experience life together.
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
No need to hunt around for friendly service, low prices, quality products, and great experiences. You'll find it all with the local experts, Sapp Brothers Petroleum. If you're tired of tracking down another late delivery, it's time to consider Sapp Brothers, where we pride ourselves on delivering products on time or even ahead of schedule, with your safety our top priority. Switching is easy. Just shoot us an email or get us a call. And right now, when you contact Sapp Brothers for any of your fuel, propane, or lubricant needs, you'll be entered to win a guided pheasant hunt next fall. Visit sappbros.net/Huskers. Huskers.
Elevate your drive in your new vehicle from Woodhouse Lincoln. Lease the 2024 Lincoln Corsair for $499 a month for 48 months and 10,500 miles per year. Shop in store at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com. With approved credit, tax, title, license extra, security deposit waived, $4,500 down payment plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. VIN 5LM CJ2 DA2 RUL 16734. Offer expires June 30th, 2025. See dealer for details.
In the game of life, we all step up to the plate. Sometimes it feels like we're facing a curveball with no clear path. Call, text, or chat 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. It's free, confidential, and staffed with trained counselors ready to listen and provide support. Don't wait for the ninth inning. Reach out, speak up, and let's strike out life's challenges together. Because we're more than players, we're a resilient community. Remember, in times of need, call a timeout. Call, text, or chat 988. It's okay to ask for help. We're here for you. Every swing, every slide. Play ball. Presented by Nebraska DHHS.
For farmers, sustainability is a way of life. 97% of farms are family-owned, and 95% are participating in conservation programs and using sustainable practices.
I'm Ann Meese, a farmer near Elgin, Nebraska. I grew up on this land, and we're dedicated to being good stewards and leaving it better for the next generation.
Since 1980, U.S. soybean farmers have boosted production by 130%, all while lowering emissions and improving land and water use. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Hey, Huskers, stop by your local Hy-Vee where they've lowered prices on thousands of the items you use every day. Hy-Vee, dedicated to making your life easier, healthier, and happier. Welcome back to Sports Nightly with Nick Hanley. I am Jessica Coody, and we didn't talk at all last night about the College World Series, and it wrapped up over the weekend. LSU champions once again, but you guys called it. Both you and Ben picked LSU, I think, going into the thing, and then LSU is ultimately the team holding up the trophy. What was your takeaway? I know there's some drama, some fireworks in the championship game, but I'm not sure how much of an effect it had, if it did, but what were your big takeaways, I guess?
I thought that the theme of the College World Series, and you saw it play out in the championship series, was dominant pitching. And I think the fact that home runs were down a bit when people have, since the BB Core era and the extended dimensions at Charles Schwab compared to Rosenblatt, where it was a big talking point at one point of, oh my gosh, are they going to have to move the wall in because there's not enough home runs? Look, the college baseball game adjusted to that, and we saw plenty of home runs over the past 5, 6, 7 years even, where the athlete in the batter's box has made that adjustment. And we saw this throughout the Nebraska baseball season. We saw it out in the Chapel Hill Regional, not just with Oklahoma when Nebraska played, but also with North Carolina. And I thought and even Holy Cross to some extent too, that pitchers they're dialed in. They are now trying to have their counterpunch of what has been a largely offensive game when it comes to college baseball. And you're seeing so much more of the 95-plus stuff. You're seeing the exploding sliders. You're seeing the command with the off-speed in the strike zone and being able to fool hitters and keep hitters just really off balance, on their front side, as we like to talk about, too. So I just think that as we saw throughout this season in the Big Ten and at the national level when Nebraska's in the NCAA tournament, I wasn't surprised to see that. I think that was the theme, that home runs were down, power pitching was up. Pitching ultimately won this for the LSU Tigers. When you look at that Saturday night game in a 1-0 gem, you saw a no-hitter by Arkansas with Wood earlier in an elimination game earlier in the week, and then what was also just a fantastic display on Sunday afternoon by LSU starter, that he was able to have a dominant pitching performance as well with Anthony Ianson. So I just think that there's a lot of that takeaway of, okay, now maybe the pendulum has swung a little bit more to the mound, but as we've seen, it doesn't take long for people to figure it out in the batter's box and be able to have their own counter to it. I just thought pitching was really the story, not only of this season, but in the postseason especially.
Isn't it funny? It's the opposite way with softball. We've had that. We just had that conversation with softball about how the hitters have kind of figured things out, and people are talking about moving the fences back in that game. But like you said, I mean, it's a cycle, and it was just the opposite conversation this year with college softball.
And you're right. And I think that the cyclical nature of college baseball has been fun to watch, because remember, this is a sport where they had to make some alters, basically some alter the baseball a little bit, where you messed with the seams. So not only were you getting the same type of travel through the air, but you're also having the ability, or maybe lack thereof, to have the same type of dominant grip on the baseball, so you could put a little bit more advantage back in the batter's box because the ball just wasn't bouncing off the BB Core bats. But as we've continued to find more technology to balance it out, it really is amazing, because I think the value of the athlete, first and foremost in college baseball, is still there. It was never more important than when they did transition into the non-BB Core bats to the BB Core bats, where you had to have guys that could run bases. You had to have guys that, if they were hitting the ball to the gap, that they could get to third base like that because they had that overall athletic ability. Now you can start to, okay, let's look at what a guy's doing from a power hitting standpoint, and you can lean on that a little bit more, but now it's the arms. Not only how you're going at it with power arms, because that's the thing, the training that starts so early, these guys are conditioning their arms. But that, to me, it's the smart training. It's where you could have a 95-mile-an-hour fastball or a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but are you running the risk of injury later on, or are you doing it the right way with a lot of these throwing programs? So I just think there continues to be so much more data, and that's where we go to a lot of the TrackMan information and a lot of these coaching staffs that have so many people that are looking at all of that data to not only be able to piece together what they're doing to the exact detail, both on the mound and the batter's box, but also how they can continue to maintain that in a smart way without putting these players in any type of harm when it comes to injury. Because that was a thing going on, I think, really maybe a little bit pre-2020, where we saw some really solid arms, but the overuse was just everywhere, and where guys were going down left and right, and by the time they were getting to the postseason, they're thrown with dead arm. You know, now you're starting to see these guys be able to go 115 and really be able to bounce back. And if they had to come back on 3 days rest, they could still give you 60 to 65 pitches and look effective doing it. So I just think a lot of the science, the data points, there's all of that stuff that has its place in the game. And I think you're really starting to see this thing become even more exciting, because on any given day, you could see a dominant pitching performance, but also you could see that offensive showcase as well, which I think just makes the game that much more exciting.
So I was at an event, I spoke at an event, emceed an event last week that Coach Bolt was at, and they were each, the coaches, a number of them were there and gave a state of the program, but, you know, and with the different coaches and the teams, they're all at different points of the season, and he had talked about, this was last week when we're getting a lot of different news about different guys that were committing out of the portal, but he had said, and I mean, just the gas from the crowd, too, that there were 6,000 players in the transfer portal for baseball.
It's amazing to me, because baseball, much like softball, I think it's a very interesting predicament that you could put yourself into, where, now I'm not saying everybody's leaving because they're chasing what I'm about to bring up, but I think there is a good chunk of them that if they started, say, even at a mid to high level Big Ten team, they started, they played every game, their numbers are respectable. Well, they think that they're going to be something to be taken from the SEC or ACC. Caden Brumbaugh, it's a perfect example of a guy who, you know, wanted to, first of all, he's an Oklahoma kid, and he wanted to have that opportunity to maybe play closer to home, but also having that opportunity to play in the SEC. Caden Brumbaugh's probably going to make a little bit of money, maybe even more so than he would have made at Nebraska. I'm not really sure how that one would go, but that's an example that I think maybe too many players that go in the transfer portal think, well, if I started at my school, I should be a high commodity with the ACC or SEC because that's where the money is. So that's where I want to go. And unfortunately, there's only so many spots and so many players that those SEC programs or ACC programs are going to try to take. So sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And when you see that number, you got to ask yourself, is there that many spots up for grabs at the high-level college baseball programs? No. I mean, so you're simply hoping that it all works out, but, I mean, is it really are you going to find that elevated profiled program? I think sometimes there's some bad advice that is out there. Now, of course, there's the other side of it, too. Some of these players coaches have to make tough decisions as well. If they're looking at certain players where they are, have they leveled off to where they need a major upgrade at certain positions too? So I don't want to make it sound like these are all one-way conversations that the players are all deciding to leave. Sometimes you find out where you're going to be in the pecking order the following season, and you have to make that decision because you didn't see that growth or you didn't see that ability to find yourself competing for a starting job the following year. But it really is interesting to see, especially in baseball, how many bodies are out there in the transfer portal, and it's going to be interesting to see where they all wind up.
Well, and a little bit too, there are a lot of places. So the roster size is downsizing for baseball too. You could have, of course, all of those players have the scholarships, but they are capping just the roster size with baseball too. So we talk a lot about it with football, but just the overall number that you can carry, that is going down. And he had talked about that too, that they are losing not as many spots as maybe some other teams, but that is also maybe part of it too, where, you know, some of these teams are having to just get to the cap of the roster.
Yeah. Right, and those are the conversations that, and this is where I know Will Bolt is open and honest with all of his players. And I think there's a lot of college baseball coaches that are that way. And if they haven't been in the past, they're having to do that now, where you have to simply, for lack of a better term, you simply have to cut players and say, hey, we love what you do, we love what you represent, but right now we don't have room for you. So it's probably best that if you can find another opportunity somewhere, then it would behoove you to do so. And that's not an easy conversation because, remember, a lot of these guys, these coaches have recruited. They spent time recruiting them. They've established relationships. That's not an easy thing to do. We talked about this with what Matt Rule had to have conversations with players when you have to downsize that roster, and you just have to be open and honest with them. And so it's an unfortunate situation that I know a lot of these student athletes find themselves in, but I think for the coaches too, they don't take that lightly. They don't, it's not just this is just something that we have no emotion with too. So I know it's a tough decision that you have to make, but look, it's competitive times, and with those rosters, and we know that it's still going to be highly unlikely that even some ACC and SEC schools are going to fully fund the allotment of scholarships, that you got to do the very best with what you can fund right now. And just like with that conversation we're having with football when it comes to talent evaluation in the high school ranks, baseball, I think, is even more important because you don't have even 85 scholarships. You don't have, the 45 scholarships or anything like that. I mean, you've got to make the most of what your particular program is going to fund and still be able to put out a winning baseball program when there is pressure to do so. And we know Nebraska's got that pressure to win baseball games because that support is there with this baseball program.
Absolutely. All right, we got to get to a break. Hey, you know what's right around the corner is the Nebraska Football Road Race. Always a fun event. I know Camden has been signed up the last couple of years. We'll see if we can get him signed up again. But we're going to start talking about that. It's less than a month away, so we're going to have Bree Hoffman here joining us on the show tonight. We're going to have that conversation next. But, hey, you'll be back again with us tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, have a good night, and thanks for being here with us.
You bet. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, we're going to step aside for a break. But again, Bree Hoffman of Team Jack going to join us here on the other side of this.
Your next adventure begins at Woodhouse Toyota. Browse our current selection of vehicles and take advantage of current offers going on now. Lease the 2024 Toyota Prius XLE AWD for $299 a month for 36 months and 10,000 miles per year. Shop in-store off Highway 281 in Grand Island or online at woodhousetoyota.com. Woodhouse Toyota. Let's go places. With approved credit, $2,499 due at signing, $299 doc fee due at signing. Security deposit waived. Tax, title, license extra. Offer expires 6/30/2025. See dealer for details.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 800 fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health, and find a chiropractic physician near you at nebraska-chiropractic.org. Get your life back with chiropractic.
Which automaker employs the most hourly workers in the country? Ford. Which automaker assembles the most vehicles in the country? Ford. That's not a coincidence. It's a commitment. A commitment Ford dealers share by offering employee pricing across a full lineup of Ford vehicles.
Now get employee pricing available across a full lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Employee pricing, you pay what we pay. Only from your local Ford dealer.
When you're in the stands and have the ability to control your irrigation in the field, it's a game-changing moment. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Experience real-time, play-by-play action and control that keeps you ahead. Score big with irrigation technology from Valley. It's technology that improves your life and lets you be at the game and in the game. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
I got to see my brother get married.
I would have missed my dad's birthday.
Because I wore my seatbelt, I had the privilege of being part of his special day.
I got to go home and see my family again.
Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
I would have never had the chance to see my daughter become a doctor.
I was able to go to my brother's graduation.
I wouldn't have adopted my first pet.
And then it clicked. My seatbelt saved my life. Does it click yet?
Brought to you by NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Nebraska soybeans power everyday products, from Goodyear tires and Skechers shoes to soy-based turf and fire suppressants. These innovations replace petroleum and utilize other components of the soybean, leading to more sustainable products worldwide.
I'm Doug Sadoff, a farmer near Trumbull, Nebraska. Thanks to cutting-edge research, soybeans are now in everything from tires to turf. It's amazing to see how these advancements are unlocking new potential for our crops.
Soybeans are a win for every product and everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 800 fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
The Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center is sponsored by Akrs, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Akrs, solutions for every field. Welcome back. I'm Jessica Coody, and we are now less than a month away from the annual Team Jack road race for Nebraska football road race coming up here at Memorial Stadium on July 20th. It's always such a great event, a fun time, and just for such an important cause as well. And so we're going to talk about it here over the next month as we gear up for it. But we kick things off with Bree Hoffman with Team Jack, and Husker fans know Bree very well. And Bree, I feel like you're a regular with us here every summer. Thank you again for joining us here tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on. We're so thankful that this event is held and you guys are promoting it. So thanks for having me.
Well, I want to dive into all of that, but before we do, we saw recently with the College World Series some of the teams coming in supporting Team Jack, UCLA and Coastal Carolina. Can you tell us about that and how cool that was to see?
Oh, pretty amazing. You know, I think college athletes in general are, you know, I think as time goes on, they're becoming more aware of the impact that they can have, you know, because of the platforms that they have. And so it's so amazing when they're willing to, you know, support causes, especially our cause. But it's pretty amazing, you know, when college kids are willing to do that. So, yeah, that was awesome.
I know it's been important for you to continue to be a part and share your story and your family's story. I saw you gave the commencement speech at UNK Kearney recently. How have you been, and why has that been continued to be important for you?
You know, we're hanging in there. I think that it's important for us to continue to advance this cause because it was so important to Andy, and obviously it was so important to Jack. And so, you know, we're doubling down. I mean, we were basically fighting, you know, for better treatments and, you know, better outcomes for kids with this disease since Jack was 5 for a long time, and that has not changed. And in fact, you know, we're ready to work even harder. So whatever we can do to promote awareness, you know, I'm not a great speaker, but did it anyway because I thought that was probably what Andy would want me to do. And so, you know, any opportunity that we have to promote awareness and, you know, raise money for research, we will do it. So we are so appreciative of events like this.
Well, there's no question. We talk about it, you know, every year, and certainly over the past this year, it's been brought up a lot. Just the impact that Jack was able to have on so many people in Husker Nation. What did it mean to you, just the outpouring of support and just hearing so many people that were impacted by Jack, you know, here recently?
Oh, it was amazing. I think even he probably didn't even realize the impact that he had on people. I think as he got older, he did, you know, when he was younger, he was kind of like, I don't know why these people want my autograph, but, you know, as he got older, he's like, okay, what do I need to do to, you know, to help these other kids? Because I think we just have met so many of them, you know, and there's so many kids with brain tumors, unfortunately, in Nebraska that we know. And so it's, yeah, it was very humbling, actually.
I know we've talked about this, but, you know, for those that might be hearing from you for the first time, recently when we celebrated 100 years in Memorial Stadium, Jack's run was a part of the favorite moments inside that stadium. What has that meant to you for that day, that run, that moment to continue to mean so much to people and for it to be a favorite memory inside this stadium when there have been so many great memories?
Yeah, I never would have imagined, even, you know, even the night before when they said, hey, does Jack want to run, you know, and score a touchdown? I don't think any of us thought it would be that big of a deal. And even after it happened, it was just amazing. I think it just kind of inspired a lot of people. And yeah, it was amazing to be considered among the top memories in the stadium. You know, we're used to like the football players saying that, but to hear that, I mean, like even as a fan experience, that's pretty amazing.
Well, once again, the Nebraska football road race coming up on July 20th. This continues to be such an important event for Nebraska football, and again, with new generations of these players to come through and learn about the cause and why they're participating. Really, how has that been for you? And what has that meant to you and your family and the Team Jack Foundation that this continues to be such an important event to this program?
Oh, it's amazing. I am in awe, actually, that it continues to grow. You know, with each new group of you know, incoming players. I mean, it's amazing. The life skills department is second to none. You probably know that, and so it's amazing that they give these kids an opportunity to make a difference. And I think, you know, the road race is something that you know, a lot of the families do try to attend, and so they get to meet some of the brain tumor kids, and I think that really puts a face to the cause, and you know, they seem like they're all in. So it's really amazing how it continues to happen year after year and raise quite a bit of money for research. So that's been great.
Can you give us an update on just where we stand on that research and just as we continue to pursue a cure, just maybe some of the advancements that's been able to be made and thanks part to the Team Jack work that you guys have done year in and year out?
Sure. You know, the research is, it's tough. It takes a long time. You know, we've funded a lot of research from, you know, like basic laboratory research that, you know, they're trying to make a drug that can get through the blood-brain barrier, you know, to clinical trials where they're actually giving the drug to kids. And so it's hard work. It takes a long time, but they've made a lot of advances. And within the last, it's probably been a couple years now, there was like the first new drug for pediatric brain tumors available for kids. So it definitely looks promising. You know, this year we've had a lot of applications for people that are wanting to study pediatric brain tumors, and so that's exciting for us. You know, COVID was hard. There was kind of a slowdown. You know, it didn't stop. but some of it really slowed down. And so it's exciting I feel like things are kind of ramped back up and people are motivated to do research. And then especially also here in Nebraska, when we started the foundation, there wasn't a lot of pediatric brain tumor research going on. Actually, I don't think any, but now they're doing multiple projects, and it's so exciting to see that work being done here in our home state.
Oh, that's great. Well, with the road race and when people sign up to participate and give those donations, 100% of the funds go directly to that pediatric brain cancer research at UNMC. What's the impact of that money, those dollars are staying right here in Nebraska to help fund that research here at UNMC?
Well, I think it's great. I think it's motivating for Nebraskans because, Nebraskans are great and they want to see better outcomes for kids here. So it's all related. We want the research to happen here, and then there's collaboration between the researchers and the clinicians. And it does nothing but improve the care for kids here in Nebraska. And, a lot of these kids can't travel anywhere else anyway. Some of them maybe would like to try a treatment in a different location, but we've really increased our clinical trials that are available here in Nebraska as well. And so it is so important that we continue to improve our program and do research here.
You guys do a lot of different events that help continue to raise those funds and that awareness to the research and just the finding a cure. What do you enjoy the most about the road race and being able to be down here at Memorial Stadium?
I think I enjoy seeing all the kids, all the kids that attend, and they're so excited to meet the players. And that's one of my favorite parts. I also like the fact that basically every player participates. I mean, this is a Sunday in the morning at like 7. So nobody really wants to get up that early on a Sunday, and the players are all there, and they're usually ready to sign autographs and run or sing the national anthem. I mean, it's an amazing event, and the interaction with fans is second to none. So if someone is thinking about whether or not they should attend the road race, they should definitely attend the road race if you're a Husker fan.
And on that note, just can you speak to that and just the impact of when people participate? It is a fun day, and you do get an experience with the players that you don't normally get, but I mean, again, it's just such a greater cause, and it is special when Husker Nation comes together for a cause like this, right?
It's definitely a win-win. It probably feels like you're signing up to run a race, but there's a lot of people that will walk. If you sign up and come, I definitely think you won't be disappointed because the interaction with the players is wonderful. It's amazing, and how they're so willing to spend the time with everyone that attends. It's great.
And then just as you guys continue to grow and this awareness continues to get bigger and bigger each year, what are the goals as you move forward with Team Jack? Is it you continue to get more opportunities?
I think the goal is to just keep growing. We want to fund as much research as possible. Obviously we would like a cure for pediatric brain cancer, so that would be the goal. But in the meantime, we want better treatments for kids, more clinical trials available here in Nebraska, and I think we've improved that a lot, but we feel like there's always more that we could do. We'd like to fund all the research everywhere, but we'll just take it one step at a time, I guess.
I noticed too, you guys post some stories of some people that have been some kids that have been directly involved with Team Jack and just some of the impact that it's been made. What has it meant to you personally just to see some of these families that have been able to greatly benefit off of the work of Team Jack throughout the years?
Oh, I'm so thankful. I don't feel like I feel like a lot of it is divine intervention. I don't feel like there's really anything special that we did other than, just get mad about something and try to make a change. But the families that, that we've become connected with have become like our real family. And, there's a lot of these kids that, we just want research for all the kids. We don't want any kid to have to go through this disease. So yeah, it definitely means a lot that it's impactful to other families as well.
Bree Hoffman, thank you so much for your time once again. We appreciate it, and looking forward to the Nebraska football road race. I know you'll be here again, right?
Yes.
Be around and interacting with everybody.
Planning on it. Yeah, I haven't decided if I'm running or walking or cheering people on, but we will definitely be there.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you down here. And again, the 5K and then the 1 mile fun run for the kids as well, all taking place on July 20th. And you can get more information on all of that and how to sign up and all of that good stuff on huskers.com/road race. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Great stuff as always from Bree Hoffman. We got to step aside for a break. More of the show coming up after this.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Husker fans, it's game day, and Pizza Hut's got your perfect play. Score the game day special for just $29.99. Get 2 medium 3-topping pizzas, 8 boneless wings, and 5 breadsticks. Enough to feed 8 hungry fans. Pizza, wings, breadsticks, and more. It's the ultimate lineup to fuel your game day. Check out the full menu online at pizzahut.com or in store. Because remember, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
Woodhouse has been a trusted partner in your everyday since 1975. Shop for your next vehicle with the home team at Woodhouse and the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics. Welcome back. A final couple minutes left here of Sports Nightly on this Tuesday evening. I'm Jessica Coody. We mentioned this at the end of last hour, but coming up tomorrow night, we're going to get a check-in with the Director of Strength and Conditioning for Nebraska football, Corey Campbell, tomorrow night. So that'll be good to chat with him, get an update there. We'll also continue our newcomer series as well. I'm not sure who we'll hear from yet, but still working on that. And hopefully another thing that we're working on too is just the Hall of Fame class and introducing those over the course of the next couple of months. So we got a few things that we're still continuing to work on, and mentioned this several times, but just as a reminder, we will not be on the air next week. We'll have best of series all next week as we move into the new studio. All right, Camden and David, I've got something to task you guys with, and listeners, feel free to chime in. But in the last minute here, and we're going to continue to maybe work on this over the next couple of shows, because we'll have full 2 hours tomorrow night and Thursday. But Kyle will be moving in next week. So what are maybe the number one things that he needs to do when he gets here? What's the first thing he needs to try? Like, is Runza number one? I know Valentino's is going to be up there. You know, you got to try the Nebraska legacies, but what would you say is number one that he has to do first, or eat first, I guess?
See, you said Runza, and I think that is a 10 out of 10 comment right there. Because everyone's come to Nebraska's like, Runza, that just seems too weird. I'm not going to try it. But then when the non-Nebraska residents come in and they try it, it is world-changing. So that is what he has to do. I agree.
Okay, so we'll let him know right when he gets here. Maybe as he's pulling into town with his move-in truck, he needs to pull through the Runza drive-through. But everybody, again, keep sending in your suggestions. We'll get him set up with where he needs to eat, what he needs to do during his first few weeks here in Lincoln and as he gets settled in. All right, that is going to do it for us. We'll be back again tomorrow, full 2 hours here on Sports Nightly. Thanks to David and Camden. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens.
I'm Jason Pinky, a farmer near Craig, Nebraska. Soybeans are vital for feeding our livestock, and they're also a powerhouse protein source for people worldwide. Our world needs protein, and Nebraska soybeans are making a difference.
From tailgate grills to global plates, farmers deliver affordable, nutritious protein to build muscle and energy for everyone. Nebraska soybeans, feeding, fueling, and innovating for the future.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Groundworks. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at groundworks.com. License number C142293.
On game day, every play counts. Now imagine having the same level of control in your field. Valley is where farming meets end zone efficiency. With AgSense remote irrigation technology, farmers become the MVPs of their fields. Real-time, play-by-play control means you're always ahead of the game. Score big with simplified irrigation technology from Valley, improving your life both on and off the field. Find your local Valley dealer at valleyirrigation.com.
Nebraskans are choosing chiropractic for better health. Why chiropractic? Because it's safe, drug-free, and a cost-effective treatment option for back and joint pain. Plus, all generations can benefit from natural chiropractic care. Choose chiropractic first for pain relief or to improve your mobility, athletic performance, or overall wellness. Make chiropractic your first choice for better health and find a chiropractic physician near